Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining the TagoIO 2025 webinar series. I see we still have people joining, so I'm going to wait just a minute here before we get started. Actually, before we jump into the webinar, you're going to notice there's a chat that you guys can interact with. You can ask questions at any time. Like I see Chris from UK IoT London, great partner of ours. Welcome, Chris. Welcome. Today, what we're going to be talking about is building highly customizable IoT solutions with TagoIO. TagoIO is very versatile. What I like to say about TagoIO, when you think of TagoIO, if I had to say it in one word, it's customizable, right? It's extremely customizable. I am David Hall, your customer success manager here at TagoIO. I also have Freddie, which is a software developer, and he's going to be doing a live demonstration for you later on. Nice to see you too, Chris. So as we get started here, what we want to talk about is really the IoT ecosystem, really give you an introduction on the way it works with TagoIO specifically. We're going to go through some dashboard templates, talk about device integration in the live practice. And then, as I said, we'll have Q&A at the end, but if, at any time during this webinar, if you have a question, just pop it in chat and we'll get to it as soon as we can. With that. By the way, our next webinar is configuring and deploying single instances for IoT with Tago Deploy. So let me speak to that real quick before we jump in here. So TagoIO is a multi-tenant system, right? Tago Deploy is a single tenant system where you have a little bit more freedom on the services. It runs on AWS and things like that. If you're interested in learning more about Tago Deploy, I highly recommend to join the next webinar. It's on November 4th at 11 a.m. Eastern time, or reach out to us, right? Your customer success manager, support, whatever it is, and we'll give you a quick demo on Tago Deploy. But that's going to be a good one as well. So I highly recommend that. So when you think about TagoIO, what makes us unique, I think, is that what I already said, you're going to hear me say this quite a few times, actually, is it's highly customizable. It's a full stack IoT system, right? And what does that mean? You can build real systems with control over your code, automation, visualization, user access, integrations all in one place, right? Just to put it at a high level for you. So it's very, very powerful from that standpoint and gives you a lot of freedom to do what you want. We're going to talk about some of those freedoms that you have with TagoIO today because it's really powerful of what you could do with TagoIO. So when we talk about the ecosystem, just at a high level here, on the left swim lane, you're looking at your assets, whether it's a tractor, temperature control, whatever you're doing, right? And then you have, your connectivity, right? In the middle swim lane here where you see Sigfox, Helium, EveryNet, so on and so forth, NB-IoT, cellular, MQTT. So you have a lot of different connectivity options. One thing to note is that Tago does not sell the sensors. We do not charge per sensor. And we do not sell the integrations, the network integration, whatever you're choosing for your communication methods. We integrate with them. Example of that is we have almost 600 devices on our platform now. And one thing I like to tell people, when I'm working with them or giving them a demo, which I highly recommend, you ask for a one-on-one demo, that will be with me or one of my fellow CSMs, is that if you look for your device on, let's say you're thinking of purchasing a device or you already have a device, and you go on our site and you see that your device is not there, right? Some people, without talking to us, will think, well, my device is there, I can't use TagoIO. That is not the case, right? You can create your own connectors. We have great self-help, which I'll talk about later on, to build your own connector and those sort of things so you can integrate with TagoIO. In the middle, you're going to see two different parts in the cell phone image, right? You see TagoIO at the top. Basically, that's where your admin portal, right? Where you're developing. You are building out your highly customizable applications, right? And Tago Run is where you're building out your end user experience, right? And it's very powerful. TagoRun has a ton of security features, SSO, 2FA. Outside of security, you have a dictionary for multi-language. There's a lot you can do there. And even with the free account, by the way, our free account, it's not on a trial base. You just have limited resources like 5 devices and 5 dashboards. But even with the free account, you start building and use TagoRun to really build out your end user experience. So that's why you see on the bottom right, end users. That's where they're going to access TagoRun. You could white label it. Lots of people white label TagoRun. So there's a lot of things that you can do there. Then on the far right, you see our integrations. I've been here 6 years, and I'm not kidding when I say I haven't seen anything we haven't been able to integrate with, whether it's a Stripe payment system, a call logging system, those sort of things, right? Whether it's at the enterprise level, Jira, Weather Channel, you name it. Right, I've seen them all. That's one thing that makes it really cool working at Tago, specifically as a customer success manager, is we're not in one vertical, and we'll talk about this a little bit more as well, is we have customers in all different verticals across the world, right? So we have over 16,000 developer accounts. Those are paid accounts, by the way. They are not free accounts. I wouldn't even begin to fathom the number of free accounts we have. We're in over 120 countries, approaching 600 device types, as I spoke about. And so Tago has been in business 11 years. And I know a lot of companies say this. I've been doing this for 28 years. So I've worked for quite a few companies, not a lot, but quite a few. And companies always say, we want to listen to our customers, right? Well, TagoIO actually does it. And I'm not saying other companies don't, but we really, really try to listen to our customers. So over those 11 years, we've been able to build out this very dynamic platform, right? With lots and lots of features, right? But still, it's easy to use, right? I like to think it's simple to start, powerful to scale, right? So you can just really build whatever you want on TagoIO to meet your ever-changing business needs. And if we talk about from a pricing standpoint, our starter packages starts at $49 a month, right? And how I like to think of how TagoIO works with companies, when you think of it from a financial perspective, right? And a business requirement perspective. So your costs stay low on TagoIO, and as you are scaling up your application, right, and your ever-changing business requirements, you can adapt very quickly. So as you grow, your footprint on Tago grows, right? So it's not the other way around. You're not paying high cost up front when you're just trying to get started. Maybe you're a startup or something like that, right? It's the opposite, right? You are up here gaining your customers, and we are down here just growing with you at the same pace, right? So that makes Tago unique in itself, in my opinion. If we talk about templates, we added these a little over a year ago, right? And I'm not a developer, right? So you don't have to be a developer on the platform. We have a learning center and things like that, but this was a great addition. Again, this was listening to our customers, right? Where we have these templates that you can download and you own them. Once you download to your TagoIO admin portal, right? You own them. You can manipulate them any way you want, change colors, swap out the widgets, whatever you want. You 100% own them. You can do what you want. So it's a great jumping off point for you, right? To really get you inspired on what is possible on TagoIO. So, and I think last time I checked, I think there's like 15, maybe even 20 templates, something like the numbers somewhere around there, but there's lots of different templates there that you can get started. So really cool stuff there that you can really, as I said, get a jump start, right? You don't have to start from scratch. And it gives you inspiration. When you look at them, you might think, well, I like this from this template, and I like this one from this other template. Well, once you download them, you can do what you want with them, as I said. So really cool stuff from that perspective. Custom reports. Again, I meet with potential customers, existing customers, partners. I speak to everybody, right? I am on the front lines for our customers and listening to them. And custom reports is highly, highly used within TagoIO. Whether that is a simple CSV or a cool PDF, it's up to you. You could have a nice picture in it, in your PDF, and really make it professional looking. And the reports can be, you can send them manually, obviously, but you can also go on a scheduled basis if you want for your reports, excuse me. So there's a lot of flexibility there, obviously email to end users. And again, there's multiple settings. It's stored in your TagoIO admin account under what we call files. And again, fully customizable, as everything is in Tago, in my opinion, right? So these are very, very popular. What I see most common, quite honestly, if I had to pick one, it's that they want to see, they're looking at preventative maintenance, right? A lot of times, and for some of my customers. And the way they're using, for those particular customers in that vertical, they're using it to see what has happened during the week, right? So they get a report at the end of the week. And with our alerts, you're able to see, obviously what the alert was, what time it was triggered, the date it was triggered, and more importantly, who acknowledged it. And if you do a little more customization, you could actually have a field of what did that person do when they acknowledged that? Well, I turned off the freezer and I called the maintenance guy so they can come fix it, or something like that, some resolution that's in progress. So a lot of stuff you can do there with custom reports. So custom analytics, again, highly customizable, right? Keep your data up to 9 years. You could have advanced analytics because the data doesn't lie, right? So again, when you're thinking about a full stack IoT platform, it's not just about visualization. When I go to shows all over the world, and a lot of people come to the booth and they're new to IoT, and they come to me and they say, oh, so you're just a visualization company. No, we're much, much more than that, as I said, full stack IoT. So there's a lot you can do. And I see a lot of use of the custom analytics in a lot of different use cases. I mean, you think of it. And you could also integrate with your own analytics engine if you want, right? You don't have to use our analytics. But there's a lot of stuff that you can do there. And again, as I said, it's very, very popular amongst our customers. So I spoke about Tago Run. So when you're building out your customer end user experience, right, in Tago Run, you can just download our app for free, right? And then they can just use that. I mean, you can access from a browser, of course. But your Tago Run, as far as from the app standpoint, there's a lot that you can do there. Again, some customers want us to build their own custom mobile app. That's very common, actually. It's not rare. It happens all the time. I have 2 that are being worked on by my development team now. So a lot of flexibility there that you can do. But even with the free account, as I said, you can download the Tago Run app and see what the look and feel is going to be like for your end users and actually start using it, right? So free to use. Go ahead and check it out. So Kickstarter. I love Kickstarter. Our customers love Kickstarter. Why? Because it's a plug and play application, right? One thing about Kickstarter is that you can manage multiple customers. Think of Kickstarter as a foundation piece, right? Where you're going to start plugging in things to meet your business requirements. And I might have somebody in smart building, and I might have somebody that's tracking cattle, right? You can manage both of those in Kickstarter, right? They're not going to see each other's items, but you, as the developer of the application, you will be able to see everything that's going on. So it's very powerful. We have a nice video on Kickstarter, but again, you can ask for a demo for any of this stuff, or I'd be glad to give you a demo, or one of my fellow CSMs, as I said. So think of it as ready to go. You still need to do a little bit of work, but it's your foundation piece, right? And really gives you a jump start for any vertical sector, as I said. We're going to go into Kickstarter a little bit more, and also a layer above Kickstarter, which is also very popular, that we call RTLS. So the Kickstarter application, if we just start at the bottom, right, your sensors and networks, it's the integration, right? That's where you're going to start. right? And some of the modules in Kickstarter, is organization management. As I said, you might have different customers and different verticals, right? That's where your organization management comes. And within one of those verticals, you also have user levels, right? I may have a manager at a restaurant that needs the ability to add sensors, right? And not contact me, the developer, meaning you guys, right? Don't contact me because I've already built the application for you to utilize, right? But I'm the manager at a restaurant. I can have the ability to add the sensor myself, replace a sensor, whatever the situation may be. This is just one example, by the way. There's lots of freedoms that you can get. But maybe my employees don't need that. So when they go view the dashboard and interact with the analytics or however you're utilizing it, they're not even going to see the ability to add the sensor. So again, a lot of flexibility there. Alert management, and this is all available in regular Tago, but again, Kickstarter is a foundation to help give you a jump start. Think of it as a step above the templates, right? It's pretty much ready to go with just a little bit of customization. Your alert management can be email, SMS, push notifications. You got lots of options there. There's image marker support. And again, the PDF report, again, extremely popular from that aspect. So this is RTLS. So Kickstarter's at the bottom. Think of it as the foundation. RTLS, the way I like to describe it, is RTLS sits on top of it. It's just a different way to utilize the Kickstarter application, and here it's called RTLS. What you're looking at here, again, very powerful. You could do this with Kickstarter as far as you might have a warehouse distribution, right? You have a main distribution center and maybe a couple small warehouses behind it, or think of it as a big restaurant chain or whatever, things with hierarchy, right? So I can add an organization, and underneath that organization, I can have my sites. And the site at manager 1 is only going to see his site. He doesn't care about the other sites, right? The manager at site 2 is only going to see their site, but the general manager is going to be able to see all the sites and have all the reporting from all the sites. So the way RTLS is used a lot of the time, I would say the majority of the time, is they're using it in one of two ways for asset tracking, cold chain management, fleet management, whatever it is to where you are tracking things indoor and outdoor that you are seeing here. So if your sensor supports it, like I actually use this on my farm that I have, and I am using a SenseCap T1000, right? But there's lots of other options out there. I have all kinds of different sensors, as you can imagine. But I'm tracking things indoor, and as I transition outdoor, I could see it moving in real time. And if you look in the map window there, you see the little pop-ups, right? You can have a direct link to go to that asset to get more information, right? So there's lots of ways to configure this. What you're seeing there is not the final product. It just matters on how you want to do it. Again, when you're thinking of Tago, think of, flexibility and customization, right? So you can build it out however you want to do it. But RTLS, extremely popular as well. So now we're going to go to live. We're going to go to live practice. We're going to spend a little bit of time here with Freddie. He's going to talk about how to integrate a device, create a dashboard, set permissions, and how to deploy. So I'm going to pass it off to Freddie, and then I will come back with you, and we'll cover a few more things. But again, thank you for your time. Welcome, Freddie. Thank you for doing the live practice. I'll hand it off to you.
All righty. Hello, guys. Let me share my screen here. So, all right. So I've created here a miniature application just to go over all of the customizable options that you have inside of TagoIO. So the first thing that we should go over first is regarding bringing device data to TagoIO. So inside of TagoIO, you can send data either through HTTPS or maybe through a LoRaWAN network server or MQTT. We've also had examples where we would have an analysis that would pull data from devices instead of devices sending data to us. So there are multiple ways in which you could send data to TagoIO. So in this example here, I've created two devices where this device, I'm going to show you how to send data via HTTPS using the API. So here we have our API, specifically the send data route using the device token. So the way you would use it is you would get its endpoint, get the device token, which you can get here. So you copy the device token here and send a payload inside of that device data. So here I have that token already added inside of the device token header here, as you can see. And we're using the base URL, which is api.tagoio, and the data route. So this should send that data to TagoIO. But this is not, this is a imaginary device. So I've actually created my own custom connector, which we can take a look at here. So here I have my custom connector, which is using a custom payload that isn't from any real device. So I've created a payload which will also go to this custom connector and will be parsed into 3 variables: humidity, location. There's also error verification here as well, and temperature too. So that's something that you could customize completely on the TagoIO side, or you could instead, if we already have the device inside of TagoIO, you could simply select the device from our device selection. So here we have all the devices as well as the networks that we support. So as I mentioned before, we have all our LNSs. If you were to just connect it directly through HTTPS, which is what I'm doing here. So my custom connector is using the HTTP network. And we also have MQTT, some NB-IoTs as well. So let me go back there to sending the data. So I'm going to turn on my live inspector here so that we can see the data arriving. And if I send my payload here, we can see that the API resulted in 3 new variables being added. And here you can see those variables coming into the device itself. So here we have the temperature, humidity, and location variables. And we also have here some mocked data that I have for our dashboard that I'm going to show, and the data that we just added. So I'll be removing these just so that it doesn't look not as good on the graphs, because these data points are 5 days ago, and we have a graph widget that I'm going to show. So I'm going to delete that. Okay. So now we can go over to the dashboards here. So we have 2 dashboards. We have the end user dashboard and we have the admin dashboard. So these 2 dashboards are blueprint dashboards. So they are dashboards that will show devices without you needing to select a device for each widget. So it's a lot more scalable, basically. So here we can see that this dashboard has these 2 devices as their options. That's because we customized the dashboard, right? We came here to the blueprint settings and we add only to show the devices that have the tag key device type with the value device. So if we go here to the device, just for you to understand, if we go to the device's tags, we'll have the device type as device. So because of that, this device will be shown here. For example, if I create a new device, this device does not have the tag, as you can see here. So it will not appear in the blueprint dashboard. So if we take a look here, we only have device 1 and 2. So that's how that works. So inside of the end user dashboard, we have the temperature and humidity, which are the current values, and also the historic temperature and humidity values. Inside of dashboards there, you can do a lot of things. You have a lot of widgets. So you probably saw in the admin dashboard, we have a map widget. We have all of these other widgets. as well as a special widget, which is the custom widget, which allows you to create basically any visualization that you want using the data that's inside of the device. So this is extremely powerful. We also have widgets like cylinder, and another widget that's very important are the input form widget. So this is a widget that you could add information. It's basically a form, right? So you add information, and then from this widget, you can run an analysis, which then allows you to do even more things, a lot of stuff. So this is extremely powerful as well. So for example, I could add a input form widget here, which would allow users to basically request if they want to post-process the data in some form, or maybe to create a report, for example. You could have an input form here, giving the user a field of, for example, a calendar and maybe a variable type, and then he would select that and then hit submit, and that would then send a report to the user's email. So there's lots of ways that you can build on top of dashboards along with analysis using that input form. So here in the admin dashboard, we have also the temperature, the historical temperature, humidity, and historic humidity, just like the end user. But we also have the location of the device that we selected here, which will have the past location, as well as the coordinates, the temperature, and the humidity. Since these payloads, they all come with the location, the temperature, and the humidity together. So you can add that into a single info box and then easily visualize them here. And inside of each widget, you also have multiple ways of customizing the widget as well. For example, you can change the pin size. There's a lot of ways to customize it. I believe, yes, we also have the type of map. I believe you also have the tile provider. You can also change that here. And this is all inside of just one widget that I'm talking about right now. So there's a lot of customization. You can also change the colors. For example, if I wanted to change the header as like that, for example, then change the buttons as well. And then you can easily just copy it from another widget, or you can just set it up here and then copy this. You can copy this widget to the other widgets using the apply color settings to all widgets, for example. So that makes it very easy to quickly modify the colors of all of your widgets in a dashboard. Also, on the bottom here, we have the user list widget. So this is a widget which allows the admin user to know which users are assigned to this dashboard. So this is the next part that I wanted to talk about, which is the access management module here, which allows development users to decide what each type of user can view, as David was mentioning, as David mentioned in his RTLS presentation part. So here we have the run user, the run user permissions for the admin. So as you can see, users that have the tag access type with the value as admin will have access to all the devices, all the dashboards, and all the run users. So basically the entire application. So if we come here to the users module and log in as a admin user, so now I'm going to go into the toggle run part of TagoIO, which is the end user part. So here, as you can see, we have access to all the dashboards. So here, we can see here we have access to the end user dashboard, and we have access to the admin dashboard, as well as access to both devices. So this part is also customizable on the toggle run module, which I'm going to go to next. So if we also come here to regular user 1, for example, you can see here that he has the tags access type regular and device ID, which is the device ID. So if you come here to devices and come here to device, for example, I believe he uses 1. Yeah, A8. So if we come back here to the device, A8 as well. So if we come here, we can see that the device ID is correct. So with that, if we go to the access policy of the regular user, we can see here that the run user that has the device ID tag that matches the device ID tag of the device, he will have access to it. So, and let me also show the other ones. So here we also have the access type tag. So if the access type tag of the run user has the same access type tag as the dashboard, the run user will also be able to visualize it. So let me check the tags of the end user dashboard, and that tag should have the access type as regular. Yes, it is here. This one, for example, it would not be necessary because we're already giving access to all of the dashboards for the admin. So this isn't really necessary here. So with that, if we log in as the user, we'll be able to see that happening. Right here. So as you can see, we only have access to the end user dashboard and we only have access to device one. And this is also customizable. For example, if you come here to end user dashboard, click on edit mode, edit dashboard, and then go to blueprint settings, you'll have here show each device selector. It's set as always, but you can change it, for example, to only show it when there's more than one, and save. And that will already reflect on your end user environment. So now you do not see it. And okay, so with that, I can also show you things that you can customize on Tago Run, which is basically everything. So for example, the domain, you could have a custom domain, which is here, or you can just change your subdomain here. You also have all of your themes as well as the backgrounds for the login, the sign up page here as well. Same for the sidebar and navigation. So all the elements that are here on the upper part. So for example, if I change buttons to white, for example, you can see here in real time where it's going to change. And then this will only apply once you hit save. Same for pages, buttons, general, right? So that would be the things that you can change on Tago Run, as well as the sidebar buttons here, as I had mentioned earlier. So admin and device data. And this also uses tags. So everything inside of TagoIO basically uses tags. That's why it's in the name. So let me see here. And sorry, cancel. Right. And then inside of the admin dashboard here, we also have, so the users here are shown also using their tags as well. So if we go to the admin dashboard and edit the user list dashboard, the user list widget, we can see here that it's using the following user list filter. So it will show all the users that have the device tag, which has the same value as the device ID tag that is selected in the blueprint selector. So if the user has the device ID tag, which is the same as the device one ID value tag, it would be shown here as well. So this is just a very simple example of everything that RTLS already does. So just to make it a little bit easier to understand the ways that you can customize Tago, your application to fit your use case. So thank you.
Thank you, Fred. As we can see, there's lots of things that you can do on TagoIO, highly customizable. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. Just go over a few things. So we're just brushing on, the top 5%, if that, right? So you really need to contact a CSM, ask for a demo, which you can do from the site that I'm showing here. to really get a one-on-one personal demo that meets your needs, right? Because that's one thing that you'll find about TagoIO is we're very accessible, right? So it's not some chat bot that you're going to be talking to all the time. I mean, it's real people, right? And we care. So we want to talk to you. That's one thing that makes customer success management here at TagoIO a little bit of a challenge, right? Because as you see that our customers can build, anything they want basically, and they don't need to come talk to me. But where it benefits from is they come talk to me. I can help them with optimization, all kinds of different things, features they don't know about. So my point is, again, reach out to your customer success manager, ask for a demo, so we can really dig deeper. There's so much to Tago. We would never get this in one webinar. But I want to show you a couple things on the site real quick. If you go to resources, here you're going to see, here's the dashboard templates. There's lots of stuff in here, but just highlight a few things. Here's the dashboard templates, right? These are just some of them that you can download, as I said at the top of the webinar. And once you download them, you own them, right? Also in resources, don't let Tago intimidate you, everybody. We have a learning center, free to take, right? Templates are free. This is free to take. The 100 modules are more of the fundamentals, if you will. And the 200 modules is a little more advanced. But people that take this, and I could tell you from experience, get a jump start on Tago and just start taking off. No kidding. They just start taking off with Tago from taking these training modules. So very powerful. Another thing that I would say is check out our use cases. We're getting ready to add another one this week. I believe it's going to be this week or the start of next week. We'll be adding it. If you want to learn about Kickstarter here. Another thing that I mentioned at the top of the call is this is our next webinar coming up on the 4th. Please register for that. Even if you can't attend, at least register so you can get the video and really start understanding what Tago Deploy is and so on and so forth, right? There's other events here that we're attending this year, and we're going to be adding more. We're always adding more. So, and then one last thing, obviously we have the community, the help center, all that stuff that you guys can ask questions. We have self-help videos. And for the developers, again, full stack IoT is what Tago is. Here is really where you can get into the SDK, the API, all that different kind of stuff. One last thing I would like to talk about is security, right? So if we talk about security, obviously it's an important part of all of our everyday lives, right? There's no question about it. So we are ISO 27001 compliant, GDPR, for our friends over across the water here, across the ocean. There's lots of security certificates that we have, so we take that very seriously as well. One thing to mention about Tago Deploy is you can select specific regions where you want your data to stay. But if you just sign up for a free account today, just on the multi-tenant on TagoIO, not Tago Deploy, right? Then you could choose your data to be in the EU or here in the US where I am at, Raleigh, North Carolina. So you can choose that. You have some freedom there, but Tago Deploy, you can really get granular where you want your data. But with that, I think we've used up the time here today. Again, I can't stress enough. Reach out to your CSM, ask for a demo if you want to learn more, because there's so much to it. I would definitely follow us on LinkedIn, and all the other social media channels, but LinkedIn specifically. We're always posting stuff there about new releases, what we're doing, where we're going, things like that. So that's a great resource, by the way. We're very active on LinkedIn. So with that, I thank you, everybody, for joining the webinar. I really hope I'll be hosting the next one too, so don't let me down. I want to see you there. But I thank everybody for their time, and hopefully I get to meet each and every one of you very soon. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye-bye.